Hello, we're here today with Kourtney Levins. She's one of my favorite people. I've been getting angel readings from Kourtney for years, and she has helped my life so much because I call her when I really have an interesting situation in my life and I need her contact to angels and her brilliance and her communication with them. And she has helped me tremendously. So here's Kourtney Lovins. Hi, Kourtney.
Deirdre, I am so excited to be here. I am so glad you are doing this because, especially right now at this time in the world, in our lives, it's never been more important than now to really start holding that light for people and talking about angels and knowing your angels are around is the perfect way to do that. So I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Sure. And totally agree with you. This is the time we need to contact our angels. So, what inspired you to become an angel reader? How did your journey begin?
It's really kind of crazy. It seems like almost a lifetime ago. I was lying in bed and I started hearing music and I couldn't make out what instruments were being played and there weren't any words to this music. And the harder I tried to listen to it, the more it eluded me, right? And so I got up, walked around the house, went downstairs, made sure all the radios and TVs were off, went back upstairs to bed and kept hearing it more and more and more. And it was nothing I'd never heard before. It was very, not to be corny or hokey, but very celestial, very beautiful. And then at night, I would hear voices. Now, let me be clear when I say this, not voices saying, Kourtney, do this or Kourtney, do that. Nothing like that, nothing scary. But one night in particular, I thought my neighbors were having a party. And I heard so many people outside just chit chatting that I knew if I looked out the window, I was going to see cars, all around the cul-de-sac lined up and down both sides of the street for sure. And so I sneaked over to the window and pulled back the blinds, expecting to see people standing in my yard, right? And there was nobody there. Nobody. And so I started getting a little concerned. And I went and told my parents, and I said, I'm hearing voices, I'm hearing music. And my dad, God bless him, that generation, he said, well, you just need to turn off the radio. And I was like, no, that's not what it is. But I did what, probably any good little girl would do. I went to the doctor and said, I must be crazy because I'm hearing music, I'm hearing voices, and none of these things are there. Right. So he did probably what any doctor would do, and he gave me a cocktail of drugs to the point that I was really just a walking zombie. Um, and then what I didn't know was that the angels were actually coming in there at this time to meet me, to introduce themselves to me, to let me know that I had this invisible heavenly team who was there to support me. Because what I didn't know at the time is my mom was going to be diagnosed with tongue cancer and that she didn't have long to live. Now, understand my mom was my best friend, probably like a lot of women, but we worked together and we would drive to and from work and be on the showroom floor together. We, selling motorcycles. So for her to pass really rocked my world. And my angels knew that. So they were really coming at that time to help me. Fast forward, after the grief and everything, I tried to process through it. I started really, really desperately missing my mom. And I wanted so badly to communicate with her. And I knew there were people who could do it, right? I'd heard of mediums. I'd been to psychics before. I loved it. I was fascinated with it. And I thought, if they can do it, there's got to be a way I can learn to do it. So I found that there was a certification course, and this little Texan girl flew all the way to Hawaii and said, I'm going to learn how to do this so I can communicate with my mom. And Deirdre, it was it was so very humbling. I walked in the room and all these people are around there and they're like, oh, I see these beautiful auras. And I was like, I don't see anything. Oh, I closed my eyes. I saw black and was like, well, I've already spent all this money. I quit my job, so you're kind of stuck here. So I went ahead and finished it out and went home. And logically, it's not like me to quit a job before I have another one, right? But I understand why the angels did it, because if I had left that course and had been able to go back and go to work without tucking my tail between my legs, I probably would have. But this forced me, sink or swim, do or die, to start doing readings out of my home. And I remember the very first reading I ever did. The woman came to my house and she sat down in front of me, and I'd meditated for like 30 minutes beforehand. And I closed my eyes and I went, does your husband have a mustache? And she said, well, yes, he does. And I went, hey. Closed my eyes again and tried really hard. And that was the way my reading started, was, through a series of them asking questions and me closing my eyes to get answers. So that's really how the journey began. I did not set out to be an angel communicator as a little kid. Looking back on it, what's so funny is my mom had always collected angels, and she started giving me books on angels at a pretty young age. And so I remember moving and unpacking these boxes, and I went, here are my angel books. And I had, over a dozen books on angels and angel interactions and things. So it was really fitting to know that all of this had been around me and that it was supporting me on my journey to now do what I do now, where I not only do readings, but I'm a spiritual advisor, and I teach people how to communicate with their angels as well.
Wow, that's an incredible story. It's almost it's almost like you chose your mom because she was going to be preparing you for being an angel communicator.
It's so interesting because at that point in time, I couldn't get out of my own way. I could only see this was my mom, my best friend, and now she's gone. And how hurt I was. And it cost me friendships. I couldn't get over it. So I didn't see it at that time. Now I can look back and go, oh, mom, you knew what you were doing. You knew this was going to be the catalyst. God, you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
You put me here to do this. So yeah, I couldn't see it at the time.
Wow. How do you communicate with the angels? What kind of techniques do you use to receive messages, especially for people in our audience that they want to learn to be an angel reader?
Sure. Well, it is my belief, if you can walk, you can dance. And if you can talk, you can sing. And if you have a conscience, you can also communicate with the unseen realms. So know that this is something you can learn. And know that when I started out, I couldn't see anything. One of the things I did learn, and one of the things I teach now, is talking about our extrasensory perceptions, our clair senses. And clair means clear. So we talk about our clairvoyance, which is the clear seeing. our clairsentience, which is the clear feeling, our claircognizance, the clear knowing, and then the clairaudience, which is the hearing. What's interesting is my hearing was the first of what my kids call my spidey senses to actually come online, or for me to recognize it as such. The truth is, the clairaudience is actually the last of the clairs to develop. So if you've ever heard someone calling your name when you're in between those sleep stages, or you've heard the phone ring or the doorbell and nobody's there, you have clairaudience, which means you also have all the other senses. It's just about opening those up and using those skills and practicing. And it's one of the things that I teach is, what exercises can you do to really practice and hone your skills? And I will tell you, one of the ones that's been really beneficial for my students is, if you're near the ocean, go listen to the waves. There are 7 different types of waves. And when you close your eyes and you start listening to strictly the sounds of the waves, you can identify them. And it really started attuning me not just to the sound of the waves, but the sound in between the sounds, right? And I had gotten one of those sound machines to go to sleep to, and I was like, oh yay, ocean waves. And I go to sleep and I went, oh, I got gypped. This thing only has 4 of the waves on it. And so it was really kind of funny to be able to notice that and know the difference in it. So that's one exercise that I teach my students to really help open up their clairs and understand that this is a 2-way communication. And the good news is, if somebody's a little scared or a little anxious about doing this, know that you're not going to all of a sudden start seeing full-bodied apparitions. You're not going to have dead people show up at the foot of your bed wanting you to deliver a message. And it's also one of the things I teach my readers and all of my students is what I call the rules of engagement, where you set those boundaries and you set those parameters so that you're safe and that you feel like you have control. You can turn it on and turn it off. And that's really important, especially when you're trying to sleep and your angels are waking you up in the middle of the night. Being able to turn it off is important.
Do you tell the angels you can contact me between 9 and 5?
I do, Deirdre. And one of the things I learned very early on was that when I was sleeping, they were taking me to a school of some sorts. And I knew I was doing, now this sounds really woo-woo, but some out-of-body astral traveling. And I knew that I had gone to heal a friend of mine. I don't even know how I knew, but when they called me the next day and said, your friend's been in a car accident, I was like, I know. I was healing last night in my sleep. So I learned very quickly to say, yes, if this is service of the highest level, I'm okay with that. But I'm not going to be the lady running around town saying, I have a message for you. So if y'all need to get a message to somebody, you get them to find me and call me and schedule an appointment. And it works. I still have people to this day that say, I don't even know how I found you. I truthfully don't even know why I'm here, but I just felt this urge that I need to schedule an appointment. So it's really interesting the way it works out. Never ceases to amaze me. And yeah, putting those rules of engagement and saying, hey, I have to get up early for work tomorrow. I got to take my kids to school. So I can't play tonight. But this weekend, I'm off. We can do whatever astral traveling you want to do. Yes, I have told the angels that. And I have told them, if it is something that I can't do anything about, we can hold off on those messages. And I don't need to know that at 3:00 in the morning. But I will tell you, if Archangel Michael wants me to get a message to one of my clients, he will still wake me up in the middle of the night and pound the message into my head until finally I'll reach over to my phone and send an email and say, okay, I just got this hit on this. Archangel Michael wants you to know this, or we need to talk. Here's what Michael is saying. So, but yes, we have that relationship now where I'm like, I'm off duty, but I will say I'm off duty. Nobody asked me anything. Don't bring me any messages. And yeah.
I'm glad you could set parameters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having those rules, especially for my students who they say, hey, I played with a Ouija board and it wasn't a good experience. Well, no, because you didn't have rules set up. So when they go in to be able to communicate with their angels and guides, I let them know they are there to make the rules, and they can say, I only wanted to speak to these people, and I'm not going to mess with any bad juju or any earthbound spirits. I only want to talk to the angels. And that gives you that feeling of safety, and you become more comfortable expressing yourself and talking to them because you know that those rules are already set. So you don't have to worry about, calling in some negative energy or bad juju or possession or something taking over your body. I can tell you with 100% confidence, none of my students have ever had any of those experiences. It's always been very safe, very wonderful. And I've never had a student who couldn't tune in or receive messages from their angels. So it is definitely something everybody can do.
That's incredible. Who are the angels? And how can they help us figure out our daily lives?
What a wonderful question. So I've never met anybody who didn't have angels around them. Our angels, for all intents and purposes, have never walked the earth, and it can get really technical between spirit guides and loved ones on the other side versus your angel or guardian angel. But let's just say for all intents and purposes, your guides, your spirit guides have been on earth, and they'll come and go during different times of your life, depending on what lesson you're learning and what you're going through. Mm-hmm. Angels, they can only interfere in your life on 2 occasions. One, if it's a near-death experience and it's not your time to go. You've had some experience with that.
Yeah.
And 2, whenever you ask them. So it's really important that we ask our angels. And so because I've been doing this for so long, I know the angels. I know the archangels. Shall I say, Archangel Michael is a dear friend of mine. Raphael, Gabriel. But I also work with Mother Mary and other ascended masters like Kuan Yin, Saint Germain. So do you have to know their names? No. Can you just say angels? Yes, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's really we as humans who are interested in the names. Because when we come to earth, we're like, oh, I'm going to be an individual. I'm going to stand out from the crowd. I'm going to be separate, right? The angels don't want that. They are an extension of God, of spirit. So there is no difference in communicating with your angels than communicating with source. They don't see themselves as being individuals or separate. So they're not really interested in the names. Now, we've given them names and they will go by names, but think of them as an extension of you and an extension of God. And when God looks at you, he says, you're perfect. Your life is wonderful. But we as humans go, no, I'm not dating anybody, or, this job stinks, or how am I going to pay my mortgage? And so God sends the angels down there to help us. So we can actually ask the angels, hey, I know you're here to make my life, happy and joyful. And that's what you want for me. How can that happen? Oh, I get really frustrated when I'm driving around the parking lot and can't find a parking space. So help me find that parking space front and center next time I go to Walmart, so I'm not driving around for hours. There's nothing too little and nothing too big. You just want to help.
Oh, so nice to have that by our side.
Yeah.
It feels peaceful. So, how does someone recognize when an angel is trying to communicate with them?
So many different ways. And most of the time, we dismiss it. We chalk it up to luck or coincidence, right? Oh, I was just thinking about that friend who called me. No, that's really your angels telling you, hey, this person's about to be calling. You need to communicate, right? Um, when we hear from our angels, we might get that still small voice inside of us that says, take the umbrella, take the umbrella, take the umbrella, take the umbrella. Not take the umbrella because last time you didn't and it rained. Okay. That's your ego. Not take the umbrella because it looks like it's going to rain out there. That's logic. Take the umbrella. Positive statements in the present tense that repeat over and over again. Take the umbrella, take the umbrella, take the umbrella. Our angels also communicate with us with numbers, angel numbers on clocks, 1111, 333, 444. You'll see that in license plates, bumper stickers. You might be thinking, gosh, should I do this or should I do that? I remember at one time we were talking about vacation and going, where's going to be the best place for us to go? And no sooner had we had this discussion in the car, did a car pull in front of us and had a bumper sticker that was like, Yellowstone, another one said Montana. And it was like, oh, there's our sign. So always wanting to communicate with us, but we usually dismiss it as coincidence.
So, it pays to be aware.
Very definitely.
What is the most profound or memorable angel message you've received?
Oh, wow. Okay. So some of the really cool ones have been when the angels tell me about the birth of a child or that someone's going to be pregnant. That is so beautiful for me. But the other thing that we've really been getting into here lately is what is the lesson the person is learning right now? My mentoring clients, I have an executive business mentorship program that I offer my clients, and working with them and them saying, why is this happening to me? What's going on? I had a woman who's a high level executive, business owner, beautiful, right? Just gorgeous. And she had had the worst luck in love. And we started working together, and she said, why is this happening? And I said, this is going back to your self-confidence. Let's talk about what happened when you were younger. And she had some very deeply rooted beliefs that nobody wants you unless you're, Cindy Crawford then, right? And beautiful. And you have X amount of money in your bank account. And so her angels were telling me that this is something that she believes and how we could actually change that belief. And I took her through this meditation that I just received from the angels kind of on the fly. And going through it, she went, oh my gosh, I see. It's like I'm a planet and there is this magnetic force, and I'm going through the galaxy and there's another planet up there. And we're being pulled together. And she said, I have a planet. And it was so cute the way she said it. It was, what she was saying is, I've found my soulmate. I know this person is out there for me. And sure, it was just, a matter of months before he actually entered her life. And she went, oh, this is the feeling I had in the meditation. I've found the one whom my soul longs for and loves. That has been so profound to be able to guide them when, and especially with romance. I mean, my business mentorship clients, yes, we talk a lot about business and what needs to happen in their business and increasing the employee morale and what the angels are saying about that. But the personal aspect of that, where you go, you can't make this up. This is real. This is life-changing for these people. So that has been really, really profound. And being able to, I had a client recently and she said, I don't want to be an old maid. And I said, but you're not destined to. And she said, what's the holdup? And as we looked into it, started talking with our angels, one of the things that came through was this healing your relationship with your mom is actually what's blocking love. And I said, now, can you have love with having a bad relationship with your mom? Sure. And I said, but for you, this is what they're wanting to work on. And she went, oh, great. How do I do that? And I said, I'm so glad you asked. They have lots of information for you. And everything they gave was so spot on. And I want people to know this is not from Kourtney. This isn't Kourtney saying, okay, don't accept a date after Wednesday, or, don't call him, he'll call you. That's not what this is about. This isn't what we as girls are taught or what we believe. This is divine guidance from the highest source, the deepest wisdom, the highest truth of what you need to know. And it's different for people, for each person. I've had clients who've asked me, what's the stock market going to do? And I can get an overall sense of that. But when I'm asking for that person. Or they'll say, I have a business idea. One guy was so funny. He said, I have an invention. Can you tell me if it's going to work? And as soon as I tuned in, I saw like a dozen inventions. And I said, I can't tell which one you're asking about. Can you tell me a name for it or the premise of this invention? And he said, I don't want you to steal it. I laughed. I said, one, I promise you, I'm not tech savvy enough to steal your invention. Nobody would believe me. It's not going to happen. But also, that's not part of my destiny or my life purpose. So even if I stole your invention, I stole your winning lottery numbers, stole your stock market picks, I could play those lottery numbers and try to turn in that invention for weeks and weeks and months and years on end. And I promise you, it's not going to be accepted. It's not going to win. Those stocks aren't going to hit because it's not for me. It's for you. And once I put his mind at ease, he said, okay. And, I don't recall my readings for the most part because it's not my thoughts, right? Yeah. So I'm very proud to report, I cannot tell you what his invention was. To this day, I cannot recall it. It's just, occupational hazard or occupational gift, if you will.
How can you ensure that the messages you share are clear and authentic for your clients?
Perfect. When I start off, one of the things I teach my students, the rules of engagement, where we put those boundaries in place. And we ask for the messages to be loud, with clarity and completeness. Whatever the person needs to know now at this time. And if you've ever had a reading from me, you may even hear me say the prayer out loud where I specifically ask for these things. Now, take it a step further. If they're asking me a question and I'm not liking the answer the angels are giving me, I continue to ask those clarifying questions. When is this going to happen? When does it look like? Now, I understand we still have free will, but like this morning, I did a reading for a client and she said, can you tell me, am I going to have a soulmate? Am I going to have love? And when I went into the timeline, I said, okay, here's when I see someone coming into your life. And I said, now I want to get more information on this. Okay, I want to see how y'all meet. I want to see what you're wearing, what he's wearing. Is this through a dating app, a dating service? Is this organic? You meet in the grocery store? So it's really important for me as a reader to ask all those questions, to be curious, to know all the different aspects of it. And one of the things I teach my students is there's a very specific way and kind of a litmus test and benchmark we can ask the angels so that we understand, is this our imagination or is this genuine? And because it took me about a year of doing readings full-time as a career to eradicate the doubt, the wonder, the questioning. And so by going through that myself, now I can help them essentially jump timelines so that they don't have to go through an entire year of doubting what they're getting. They get it with clarity, they understand it, they understand it's from the angels, and they understand their symbols. I mean, they say, the angels are showing me, for example, the angels are showing me a scale. And that scale to me means balance. So some part of your life is not in balance. Does that make sense to you? And then the client can then be like confirming or denying that allegation. So it's really important that we as the readers continue to ask those questions on behalf of the sitter, the client.
That's amazing. With the topic of the retreat has to do with how angelic connections and starseed connections help our ascension. What do you think with the angels? How does getting in touch with the angels help your ascension?
Just like when I didn't know my mom was going to be diagnosed with cancer and the chemo was going to kill her. By having that communication, that contact, you've got the support, you've got a team around you, helping you, guiding you. And I'll never forget the first client I tuned into where I knew that her guides, and she was starseed, and that her guides were ETs. And it was a little unnerving for me. I wasn't quite sure how to pose it to her, but I said, do you ever feel like Earth isn't your home? And she said, yes, I came in on a comet. And I was like, shouldn't think I'm crazy. And then I said, would it make sense if I told you there's a spaceship above you? And she went, oh, thank God. And knowing that and those possibilities, we were really able to go very, very deeply into the conversation about why she was here, who she was, and seeing her and seeing them clear and attune her chakras. It was almost mechanical in nature. Instead of just opening up the chakras and spinning freely, it was like somebody was turning a screwdriver, and she even, like, it looked like she sat up straighter as these chakras were cleared and balanced. So knowing that you can still come out of the spiritual closet and it's not crazy and you're not crazy, and that you have galactic beings there to help you, that's going to really be a catalyst for so many people, because that fear of rejection or being looked at as crazy or weird, that can go by the wayside now. And I can tell you straight up, no, you're not crazy, you're not weird. I can see it, right? And so then it gives them this safety net and this safe space to come in and start asking questions, asking their guides questions, asking what's going to be beneficial for them. And again, I want y'all to understand, this isn't based on Kourtney's beliefs, okay? This is based on what comes through from these guides and from these messengers to help you. So your guidance for ascension may be totally different than the next person who comes along.
What a gift you have. It's so special. What advice would you give to someone who wants to strengthen their connection to the angels?
You can do it. Everybody has this natural, God-given, innate, it's your birthright to communicate right? So the biggest thing you can do for yourself is to practice. And I'm happy to say that I have classes where I instruct clients and I give them practice exercises to go and practice and strengthen their clairs. I have a certification program where people who are wanting to do readings or just get messages from themselves with clarity will go in and do, I almost said practice sessions, but they're not practice, they're real readings. And let's say somebody comes to me and says, I close my eyes and I get black. There's nothing, like I was when I started off. In these uh, reading session environments and settings where you've got someone you've never met before and you're tuning in to answer their question, I can actually go into the energy with you. And I can say, okay, do you see in your mind's eye that building over to the right? Oh, yes, I do. Great. Let's walk over to it. Now, do you see the fence behind the building? Oh my gosh. Yes, I do. I see it. Great. Now we're going to go to the fence. And do you see the dog? Oh my gosh. Yes, I see the dog. And so having me in that energy with you, when we go through some formal training and practice, that's going to start to eradicate the doubt. That's going to give you that self-confidence that I'm not making this up. Yes, this is real. She can even see what I'm seeing, right? And there are times that I can go in to my students and they'll say, I had this really weird experience. And it's like, oh, say no more. Let me tell you what the experience was. And I'll be able to go in there and say, your angels are saying this and this happened. Is that true? Is that accurate? Yes. What does it mean? Glad you asked, because here's what they're saying about that. So it is very definitely something people can do. And I'm very happy that I listened to Archangel Michael, because a few years ago, he was waking me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and he said, you're not teaching enough people. The people you've taught in the past aren't doing anything with these gifts. You need to set up this platform where not only are you helping people understand and expand upon their gifts, but you provide them the ability to work with clients. And so that was when I created the Heaven on Earth Angel Certification course. Because if you're talking angels all day, that's got to be heaven on earth, right? So my students, once they go through the course, they then have the opportunity to apply to be on my website. And we did all the technical end for them. We set up their calendar. We had the virtual assistant set up their Zoom meeting, their email. And so that really all they had to do was just show up and bring their gifts to humanity, to serve at the highest level and communicate with their gifts.
It's so good that you have that, because so many spiritual people aren't really good tech people or setting up platforms or things like that.
Oh, I'm a prime example. Like, please help me turn on my computer. Okay, it's not that bad anymore. I have learned a little bit, but yeah, and finding out that that is what was prohibiting so many people from coming out of the spiritual closet and bringing their gift to the world to help people grow. Then I felt guilty. I was like, oh, okay, yes, Archangel Michael, I'll take on this assignment. And so it's been really, really beneficial for people. It's been a wonderful resource, and being able to help even more people come out of the spiritual closet to spread their gifts and to shine their light, and for them to teach even more people about the angels and their own personal gifts. So it's this ripple, and the way it goes out, it's just beautiful.
So, how do people contact you if they want to take your course or become an angel reader for you?
Deirdre, I used to keep it very private and not open to the public. Now we have a process, a vetting process, where we find out if you're a good fit, right? Because it isn't for everyone. They might think, okay, I want to do this, but if we go in there and find out that they have a fear of being, in front of a video, and and they're not going to do anything with it or something, or maybe they don't believe, right? People who don't believe in spirit or in God or source, creator, it's very, very difficult to help them move into that communication. So there are people who are really, really good at converting non-believers to believers. That's not what I'm in alignment with. But people can go to my website, KourtneyLevins.com, and it's Kourtney with a K. And under the services tab, it has all of the programs and the special offers that I have. Angel School is a perfect starting place for people. You can do it at your own pace. And right now we've got tons of bonuses going along with Angel School. It's what all of my certified readers have to go through first. And if you like it, you get a taste of it and you say, yeah, I want more. Great. Then we're going to do the certification. And on that website, you can apply for a session with me. It's a free session. We'll have a 30-minute strategy session to see if this is a good fit for you, or if in fact you're meant to be a healer in another route, or you think you really want to do this, but actually what it is you're better at behind the scenes, or you're really being called into health and wellness, or even mediumship. And we have lots of people who come for that. Don't worry, I can help you out on that too. I do have a mediumship course and even an instructor teacher's level course that we can do. So it's all about applying for it and getting that session with me. And if you forget the website, email support@KourtneyLevins.com and say, I want to apply to get into that school. I want to apply to be a reader. I want to find out more about my own personal gifts. Let me talk to Kourtney and we'll get you scheduled.
That's awesome. How do angel readings differ from other spiritual readings?
Well, that's really interesting. So an angel reading gets the information from the angelic realm or a higher vibration. The ETs, the Intergalactic Council, I have a council of 12 who comes in. Where it's different than other readings is I'm not using angel cards. Don't get me wrong, I love them. They're a great tool. I don't use tarot. I don't shy away from predictions either. I will tell you, this is what they're showing me is going to happen as the energy sits right now. We all know we have free will. I may see you getting married, but you know before you walk down the aisle, you can bolt and run, right? We all have a pretty good idea how babies are made. So I may see you with 3 kids, but if you say, nope, not going to happen, you still have some effect on that. Other spiritual readings may just be very generic, and a lot of times they won't get into timelines. Where mine are so different is like with my mentoring clients, they may have energetic blocks. I had an author and she said, I have a fear of being seen. What we found with her when we went into it is in another lifetime, she had been a slave and she had escaped. So not wanting to be seen in that lifetime carried over into this lifetime. So with that, I was able to go in and actually clear that energy, change that belief, remove those blocks. And within an hour and a half, she had a Times Square calling her, asking her to be on the Jumbotron and do a book signing there. So it's powerful. It works. You can't make that up, right? So clearing those beliefs, that's different than what other people are doing. We also do, in essence, a form of medical intuitive or medical mediumship. Not that any of us are doctors, don't get me wrong, but we can go in and see where is the energy stagnant, where is it blocking, what part of your body is calling out to us or calling out to you. And then what's the next course of action to take? Where these readings are so different than just, where's my lost bracelet, which is wonderful and super helpful to people. These readings go beyond that. We go beyond the ask. What is the lesson in this? What's going to happen if you go on that vacation and your husband stays at home? What's he learning during the process? How is it going to benefit either one of you? We can also go into and say, okay, if you go this route, here's what it looks like. If you take this direction, here's what they're showing me it looks like. And it's really beneficial for people who go, I don't know what job to take. We can help you with that. And
That's
we can show you,
incredible.
yeah, what does it look like if you go in each different direction? And that's where it's more than just an angel reading, right? We really go into helping you not just get your questions answered, but get back on track. Get back to where your path is supposed to be. Get on that higher trajectory, that highest vibration, that highest level where you are here to excel and to bloom.
That's ascension.
Yeah,
You're a perfect conduit for that.
exactly. And we are just that. We're the tool, we are the channel, we are the messenger.
Oh, Kourtney, do you pick up anything about me?
For you, Deirdre, you have a lot of change on the horizon. And what's interesting is they show it almost as a set of mountains, beautiful, beautiful mountains that somebody might look at and go, huh, no, I'm not climbing up that. You look at it as, okay, what's the most efficient way to get to the top? You don't think it is as an obstacle. You think of it as more of a challenge or an invitation. So for you, like failure is not an option. You will succeed and you will take other people up the mountain with you. And that's one of the big things and why I love, love, love doing this. And I love being a part of this, especially for you, is because like the angels told me whenever I spoke to you, they said, it's time. It's time for Deirdre to be doing this. It's time for her to share her story with the world. And it's time for other people to realize, oh, I'm not weird. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm this or this or this, and this vibration, this dimension. And there are others like me where people can find their community, they can find their tribe, and really, instead of feeling ostracized, know that they're the focal point and they fit in. And that's what I see you being. I see you doing that. I see you leading that, you facilitating that. And this is just your first step.
Wow. Thank you. The
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it, for letting me play in this energy. It's incredible. It's amazing. And I'm thrilled and honored. So thank you.
You're such a good illustration of the multi-dimensional soul.
Thank you.
Really incredible. So you have a free gift for the audience.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So if you're like me, you go, okay, there are angels. Well, who does what? And what color? And what do they handle? And what's their name? And how do I do it? So for all audience members, we have a free archangel chart. I keep one on my desk, and I promise you, at least once a month, I'm looking over and going, okay, wait, does this one do this? Yeah. Anyway, this color, was that this one or this one? So I love being able to give that to y'all. That's amazing. I also, for those of you who are interested, if you've ever wanted to see if you have the gift, know that this is a spiritual gift given to you by spirit. If you ask for it directly or indirectly, it's one of the reasons why you have this natural curiosity and calling toward it. So we can help open up your gifts. I can teach you what your gifts are, what your personal communication style is, the way the angels are communicating with you directly. And I have this in a free class, totally free for all of your audience to come and know that when you register for this class, if you can't make it, because I understand sometimes the day, the time zone, yeah, it just doesn't work out. Not a problem. It's being recorded and this will be emailed to you. So you can sit there and watch it, re-listen to it at your own time, at your own pace. And that is for anyone on the call. You can register for that free angel intuition class. And then I thought about this, and Michael was telling me there are people in your audience who have never experienced an angel reading. So I am doing a discount, a huge discount on my readings and giving a special offer to your audience. It's a very limited number. So whoever comes first, first come, first serve. I've got a limited number of slots I'm opening for your audience, Deirdre, where they can get a 30-minute angel reading from me, Kourtney Levens, for $147.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That is really a great price.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for being a voice for so many people and bringing them together and bringing them into their vibration where they can feel safe learning about this and evolving spiritually. So thank you.
Thank you. So it's December 4th, 12 p.m. Central Time for the free class.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool.
Yes, ma'am. Register for it. They'll send you the Zoom link and all the information on it. Bring a friend. Forward the registration link to your friends, your family members. The more the merrier. Glad to do this for you. It really allows me to give back. And I do feel it is serving at the highest level. So I'm really excited to be doing this.
Oh, you're the best.
Oh, you're the best.
Wow. Thank you so much, Kourtney, for being with us today. Kourtney Levens.
Oh, Deirdre, thank you. Thank your audience for sitting through this and listening to me ramble on. And know that your angels are just a thought or a spoken word away. And if you need help with that, I'm here to help you. Kourtney Levens, KourtneyLevens.com.
Awesome. Blessings.